Sunrise Philippines 8 Rule 2B Philippine Economic Transformation 2020.
അപ്പോൾ വലിയ കാഹളത്തോടും ശക്തിയോടും മഹത്വത്തോടും കൂടെ മനുഷ്യപുത്രൻ വാനമേഘങ്ങളിൽ വരും.
RDR Research, Discover, and Reflect. The Sunriser.
At which stage is it going to repeat that?
Akong mga hinigugma. Nga mga igsoon, mga kapatid, the 109 million Filipinos and the 7.8 billion people around the world. And now, welcome sa ating program, Sunrise Philippines number 8, a Rule 2B, Philippine Economic Transformation 2020. So our main theme talaga is everything shall be added or shall be given unto you, the Philippines, to become the richest country in the world. I-question naman, papaano na maging mangyari po ito? Papaano na maging totoo na ang Pilipinas talaga ay maging pinaka-richest country in entire world? Kaya nga, our discussion, tutuloy po tayo, continuation sa Rule 2. Nandoon na tayo sa Rule 2B. Ito talaga ang Philippine Economic Transformation 2020. Now, if we have to talk on economy, ano ba? Is the economic system in the Philippines worthwhile? Is the economic system of the Philippines really for the people? Kapag ano ba talaga ang weaknesses? Ano ba ang defects? Mayroon bang defects sa economic laws, economic system sa Pilipinas at sa buong mundo? Kinakailangan ba talaga ang transformation? Ano ba ang transformation? Ito talaga ang total change. Kaya nga, economic transformation refers to totality, total change sa economic system. Kaya nga ito ang Philippine Economic Transformation refers to the total economic change affecting the world. Now, we have to reflect sa 195 countries in the world. Mayroong top 10 na richest countries. Ang pinaka-top 10 na richest countries. Itong mga richest countries ay tinawag na po ito na producing country. Ano ba ang producing country? Well employed ang mga tao, may mga trabaho talaga, kaya nga producing country. Produce na sila ng mga products, hindi katulad sa Pilipinas, ng Philippines is a consuming country. Tayo na may magbili talaga. Kahit wala tayong ipagbili, hindi producing country yung Philippines. Kaya nandoon po tayo sa third world countries. Ang third world countries ay ang mga pulubi, ang mga poor countries talaga. And these 10 na mga richest countries as producing countries, number 1, Luxembourg. Based po ito sa kanilang GDP, no? Ito talaga ang base sa GDP per capita po nila, no? Gross domestic products. Luxembourg ang number 1 richest way. Yung mga richest countries. Number 1, Luxembourg, seconded by Norway, Switzerland, 4th, Ireland, 5th, Iceland, 6th, 7th, ang United States of America, 8th is Denmark, 9th is Singapore, and the 10th is Australia. So, if we have to analyze naman ang Luxembourg is Europe, Norway is Europe, Switzerland is Europe, Ireland is Europe, Iceland is Europe, Qatar nandoon pa ito sa Asia, United States of America is North America, Denmark is Europe, Singapore ito sa Asia, and Australia sa Oceania. In other words, majority sa mga richest countries nandoon sa Europe. And then Asia, dalawa lang, habang sa sa American continent, United States of America. And while ito lang talaga. And sa Oceania ay ang Australia. Walang top 10 sa Africa. Walang top 10 sa South America. Now, bakit ba na rich countries? The main questions naman is the Lord happy with the system? Ano ba, let us, ano talaga ang secret? No? Ano ang pinaka-reason? Marami ba ang mga rich o ang mas marami ang mga pulubi? This we have to present naman And so, we have to dig up ano ang top 15 na pinakamayaman na mga politiko sa buong mundo. Mayroong top 15 na pinakamayaman ng mga politiko sa buong mundo that they are managing the government. So here we have the top 15 richest politicians
Dahil
whole
sa
world.
kapangyarihan, karamihan sa mga ito ay nagtataglay ng sobra-sobrang yaman. Ating isa-isahin ang 15 pinakamayaman na politiko sa buong mundo ngayon. Pero bago natin simulan, siguraduhin munang nakasubscribe ka na sa ating channel at i-click na rin ang notification bell para updated ka sa mga bagong usapang politiko at showbiz. Donald Trump, ang pangulo ng pinakamakapangyarihang bansa at isa sa pangyarihang tao sa buong mundo na si Donald Trump ay kilala ng mayaman bago pa man ito pumasok sa politika. Nagmamay-ari ito ng maraming negosyo sa loob at labas ng Amerika.
15
Bagamat
pleaser.
kilalang mayaman
Donald
si Donald Trump ay pang-15 lamang ito sa ating listahan. Ibig sabihin, marami pang mas mayamang mga politiko kaysa sa kanya. Ang estimated net worth ni Donald Trump ay $3.1 billion. Adam II, ang prinsipe ng Liechtenstein. Ang Liechtenstein ay isang maliit na bansa na matatagpuan sa Europa at pinamumunuan
14th
nito ng
placer.
prinsipe na si Hans Adam II. Ang pamilya nito ay nagmamay-ari ng banking business at ang ay ang pinakamayamang family sa ang yaman nito ay 5 beses na mas mataas sa yaman ni Queen Elizabeth II ng United Kingdom. Ang estimated net worth nito ay $3.5 billion. Manny Villar. Ang at Senate President na si Manny Villar ang
13th
itinuturing
placer,
na
Manny Villar.
pinakamayamang ngayon sa Pilipinas. Tapos ang pagkamatay ng laging nangunguna sa listahan na si Henry C. Ang real estate ang pangunahing negosyo nito na isa sa pinakamalaking kumpanya sa Pilipinas. Ayon sa Forbes magazine, pang 286 si Manny Villar sa pinakamayamang tao ngayon sa buong mundo. Ang estimated net worth nito ay $4.7 billion. Kim Jong-un, ang yaman ng supreme leader ng North Korea ay masyadong pribado. Gaya rin ng kanilang na limitado lamang ang impormasyon na mayroon nito. Si Kim Jong-un ay isa sa pinakamakapangyarihang diktador sa buong mundo, kaya hindi nakataka-taka kung anong yaman ang mayroon nito ngayon. Ayon sa mga eksperto mula sa South Korea at Amerika na nagsagawa ng investigasyon sa yaman ni Kim Jong-un, mayroon umano itong mahigit 200 na foreign bank accounts sa iba't ibang bansa na nakapangalan sa ibang tao at kontrolado ng pamilya nito. Mayroon din umano itong 20 mansyon sa North Korea, mahigit 100 koleksyon ng luxury cars, private jet at luxury yacht. At ayon sa basketball player na si Dennis Rodman na kaibigan ni Kim Jong-un, madalas umano itong magpalipas ng oras sa private island na pag-aari nito. Ang estimated net worth ni Kim Jong-un ay $5 billion. Imelda Marcos. Ang dating First Lady at mambabatas na si Imelda Marcos ay kilala sa pagkakaroon ng mga koleksyon ng mga mamahaling sapatos at mga alahas. Sinasabing ang yaman ng mga Marcos ay galing sa kaban ng bayan na itinanggi naman ng mga Marcos at sinasabing bunga ito ng kanilang pagsisikap. Ayon sa mga eksperto na nag-imbestiga sa mga Marcos noong napatalsik ito, ang mga Marcos ay may yaman na mahigit $10 billion noong 1986 na kung sa panahon natin ngayon ay may estimated value na $23.2 billion. Sa ngayon ay umabot na sa $3.4 billion ang nabawi ng gobyerno mula sa mga Marcos. Pinaniniwalaan na ang mga yaman ng mga Marcos ay inilagak sa mga foreign banks account nito, sa mga gold bars at sa mga mamahaling alahas ni Imelda Marcos. Kabilang na ang isang pambihirang 25 karat sa pink diamond na nagkakahalaga ng $5 million o mahigit 200 million pesos. Bagamat sa kanyang huling salin noong 2018 o ang Statement of Assets and Liability Network, noong ito ay congresswoman pa ng Ilocos Norte, nagdeklara lamang ito ng 923.8 million pesos na net worth. Pero ayon sa mga eksperto, ang totoong yaman ni Imelda Marcos ay umaabot pa ng $5 billion. Abdul Aziz Algorel, ang dating speaker ng Federal National Council ay nagmamay-ari ng Mashreq Bank na isa sa pinakamalaking bangko sa UAE at tumatayong direktor ng Abdullah Al Ghurair Group of Companies na pag-aari ng kanilang pamilya at isa sa pinakamalaking business group sa buong Middle East. Mayroon itong estimated net worth na $7.5 billion. Muhammad bin Salman, ang Crown Prince na anak ni King Salman ng Saudi Arabia, ang tumatayong Deputy Prime Minister ng Saudi. Ang bansang ito ay isa sa pinakamaraming reserba ng langis at ginto sa buong mundo. Kaya naman, ng mga royal family, kilala ang prinsipe sa labis na paggastos nito. Sa katunayan, bumili ito ng $500 million na yate, $300 million na French chateau, at isang painting ni Leonardo da Vinci na nagkakahalaga ng $450 million. Ang estimated net worth nito ay $10 billion. Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, ang Prime Minister at Vice President ng United Arab Emirates at isa ring ruler ng Emirate ng Dubai na isa sa pinakamaunlad na syudad sa buong mundo. Ito ang nagmamay-ari ng Dubai Holding, ang kumpanya na responsable sa paggawa ng mga luxury hotels at mga sikat na pasyalan sa Dubai. Ang ilan sa mga ito ay ang Global Village, Dubai Media City, Jumeirah Beach Hotel, at ang pinakasikat na hotel sa buong mundo na Burj Al Arab. Ang estimated net worth nito ay $14 billion. Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed Nahyan. At syempre, kung mayaman ang Vice President ng United Arab Emirates, siguradong mas mayaman ang presidente nito, si Sheikh Khalifa, na presidente ng UAE at tumatayong ruler ng Abu Dhabi, na kapital ng bansa na may napakaraming reserba ng langis na pangunahing pinagkukunan ng yaman ng mga taga-UAE bago pa man nila i-develop mismo. Kaya ganoon na lamang kayaman ang kanilang mga leader at hindi nila pinababayaan ang kanilang mga mamamayan. Kaya naman, bihira ka makakakita ng mahirap na Emirati. Pinaniniwalaan na ang buong pamilya nito ay may kabuuang yaman na $150 billion, habang si Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed Nahyan ay may estimated net worth na $15 billion. Sultan Hassan al-Bolkiah, ang pangalawa sa pinakamatagal na namumuno sa isang monarkiya sa buong mundo, sunod kay Queen Elizabeth II ng Britanya. Sa mahigit 52 taon nito sa panunungkulan ay hindi na mabilang ang yaman nito. Nagpagawa ito ng palasyo na may 1,778 na kwarto at may kabuuang sukat na 2.2 million square feet at may garahe na kayang pumuno ng mahigit 800 sasakyan at itinuturing na world's largest residential palace ayon sa Guinness World Records. Mayroon din itong koleksyon ng mahigit 500 Rolls-Royce, ang pinakamalaking koleksyon ng Rolls-Royce sa buong mundo ayon ulit sa Guinness World Records. Si Bolkiah ang tinuturing na pinakamayamang tao sa buong mundo noong 1980s hanggang 90s, bago pa man naungusan ng Microsoft founder na si Bill Gates. Mayroon itong private plane na nagkakahalaga ng $620 million at noong 50th birthday nito, kinuha nitong performer ang King of Pop na si Michael Jackson na sinasabing binayaran ng $16 million at noong kasal ng panganay na anak nito, inimbitahan nito si Whitney Houston para mag-perform. Ayon sa ulat, binigyan umano ito ng blank check at pinapasulat kay Whitney kung magkano ang gustong halaga nito. Ayon sa report, $7 million ang binayad dito. Si Sultan Hassan al-Bolkiah ay may estimated net worth na $20 billion. Prince Al-Walid bin Talal Al-Saud, isa din itong miyembro ng Saudi Royal Family at may-ari ng Kingdom Holding Company, isang malaking kumpanya sa Saudi na ang interest ay ang financial services, real estate, tourism, hospitality, media, at petrochemical. Ang ilan sa mga ito ay ang Four Seasons Hotel and Resorts, Movenpick Hotels, at Rotana Group, ang pinakamalaking media entertainment company sa Arab world. Ang estimated net worth nito ay $20 billion. Sheikh Mansour bin Zayed Al Nahyan. Mula ulit sa UAE, si Mansour bin Zayed ay mula sa pamilya ng mga Al Nahyan. Ito ay half-brother ng presidente ng UAE na si Khalifa. Siya naman ang tumatayong Deputy Prime Minister ng United Arab Emirates. Sa sobrang yaman nito, may koleksyon ito ng daan-daang supercars at bumili ng isang super yacht na pampito sa pinakamalaki sa buong mundo. May sukat itong 147 meters o 483 feet at nagkakahalaga ang $450 million at binili rin nito ang Manchester Football Club sa halagang $327 million noong pang 2009 at ngayon ay may estimated value na $1.92 billion. Ang estimated net worth nito ay $30 billion. Maha Vajiralongkorn, ang hari ng Thailand na pumalit sa kanyang ama noong ito ay namatay noong 2016, ang itinuturing na pinakamayaman na monarkiya ngayon sa buong mundo. Matapos ang pagkakaupo nito sa trono, naging kontrolado nito ang nasa mahigit $43 billion na royal assets. Ngunit, hindi tulad ng kanyang ama na nirerespeto ng mga taga-Thailand, ang haring ito ay kabaliktaran. Dahil sa pagiging controversial nito, tinagurian nitong Playboy King ng Thailand dahil sa pagiging babaero nito. Bago pa man maging hari, mas mahabang panahon ang inilagi nito sa Germany kumpara sa Thailand. Kaya naman, kahit ngayong hari na ito, madalas pa ring wala sa kanyang bansa at madalas ay nasa Germany. Katunayan, itong nakaraan lamang na COVID-19 pandemic na natili ito sa isang 4-star hotel sa Germany kasama ang 20 babae na binigyan ng permiso ng local authority doon dahil sa pagiging hari nito, habang karamihan sa mga hotel doon ay nakasarado at habang ang mga mamamayan nito sa Thailand ay nakikipaglaban sa banta ng COVID-19. Dahilan upang mag-trending ang Thai hashtag na may translation na Why Do We Need a King na may tweet na mahigit 1.2 million. Ang estimated net worth ni Maha Vajiralongkorn ay $30 billion. Michael Bloomberg, ang dating mayor ng New York City, ang nagmamay-ari ng Bloomberg LP na gumagawa ng mga financial software tools at enterprise applications. Karaniwang ginagamit ito ng mga traders, mga analysts, at mga financial experts. Nagmamay-ari ito ng maraming private jet at helicopters at nag-order din ito ng tilt-rotor aircraft na hybrid ng plane at helicopter sa halagang $30 million na ngayong taon pa lamang i-deliver kapag natapos na ang mga unang units nito. At noong nakaraang primary election ng Democrats Party, kumandidato ito sa pagkapangulo at gumastos ng mahigit $500 million sa loob lamang ng 3 buwan. Ito ang pinakamahal na gastos sa pangangampanya sa kasaysayan ng Amerika. Ngunit nabigo itong manalo kay Joe Biden na dating Vice President ng Amerika at magiging kalaban ni Donald Trump sa darating na US Presidential Election sa November 2020. Si Michael Bloomberg ay may estimated net worth na $56 billion. Vladimir Putin. Ang presidente ng Russia na si Vladimir Putin ay itinuturing na isa sa pinakamakapangyarihang tao sa buong mundo at pinaniniwalaan na pinakamayaman na taong nabubuhay ngayon. Ayon sa mga eksperto, higit na mas mayaman ito kay Jeff Bezos, ang Amerikanong may-ari ng Amazon na pinakamayaman ngayon ayon sa Forbes magazine at may net worth na $148.4 billion. Ayon pa sa mga ito, ang yaman ni Vladimir Putin ay maihahalin tulad sa yaman ng dating diktador ng Libya na si Muammar Gaddafi. Matapos mapatay ito, natuklasan na mayroon itong mahigit $200 billion na nakatago sa iba't ibang secret bank account sa iba't ibang bansa. Kaya tulad ng Libya na mayaman sa langis, ang Russia ay mayaman din dito. At ang bansang ito ang may pinakamalaking reserba ng natural gas sa buong mundo at ito ay kontrolado ni Vladimir Putin. Bagamat tahimik ang Russia tungkol sa yaman nito, pinaniniwalaan na nagmamay-ari din ito ng malalaking kumpanya sa Russia. Ang estimated net worth nito ay $200 billion. At dito na nagtatapos ang ating listahan ng mga pinakamayayak.
Okay. So, nakita na natin the richest politicians in the world, top 15. Out of the 15 top politicians richest whole world, 2 sa Pilipinas. Si former Speaker Manny Villar at saka si former First Lady Imelda Romualdez Marcos. On the other hand, while napag-present po natin ang the richest politicians in the world, on the other hand, let's present naman the reverse side. While we have presented na pinaka-richest politicians in the world, then let us also present the other coin. Ano talaga ang totoong buhay ng mga pulubi. Pilipinas affect COVID-19. Ito ang buhay ng napakapulubi naman eh. Common po ito eh. Pinas.
Mahirap din naman po sila para sa hindi naman po ang buhay namin. Kaya, iniisip ko nga po kung paano itong gagawin ko po nanganak na po yung asawa ko. Kung po kakakuha ng pagdating gamit ko ngayon. Hindi naman po ako makapilis sa ito. Wala naman po akong malapitan na isa.
O sige Marlon, pakiinin mo muna yung asawa mo tsaka yung anak mo. Kasi kanina pa yata sila hindi kumakain, kaninang umaga.
Kaya umaga ko po sir, hindi pa nga po kami nagkakalitan.
O sige, pakainin mo muna, lutuin mo muna yung dala-dala mo para sa kanila.
Ang una po, itong anak ko po, nabangga siya ng motor. Ito na po yung pinakabangga niya.
Okay? So, let's present naman, ho? Ano talaga yung nangyari? What's the real story naman, on the other hand, napakapulubi naman. Ito ang mga reality, no? Ito ang reality sa napaka-pobre naman, the real story naman sa mga Pilipino, no? On extreme poverty talaga. So, panoorin po natin, mga apo po ito, na nag-iiyakan dahil walang pagkain. So, please try to see. Yung lula po nila ito.
At minsan kayo mga apo ko at kakain na kayo at ng kwan. Kukunin ko po yung aking plato. Ito po, at yung kakainin ko po, nagugutom na po sila.
Mga apo po ito, mga grandchildren.
Mag-ulam na lang tayo ng asin, marami tayong ulam. Pagtitisan nyo na lang itong ulam na asin. Sige, kain na. Sige, kain na kayo. Kumain na, sige, kain na. Dali. Nang na. Maluto, sige na.
Nanay Gloria, paano kayo ni tatay, tsaka ng mga anak mo?
Sige. Nay, may alam po kami kakain kapag meron po silang matirang kanin. Kaya ako kami. Magtitis na lang po kami. Kumain lang tayo. Mag-asin na lang tayo. Ayan. Sige. Ay,
Nagutom sila na yan,
Nagutom sila,
Pero sarap na sila na sa ganyang ulam.
Sanay na po sila sa asin na ulam. Ganyan po ang hirap po namin. Hindi na po sila nag-anak ng kung ano po yung meron na ulam. Sila po ang pagtukayan nila. Basta't may asin. Nakuhan po sila, nasanay na po sila ganyan sa pagkain namin na ganyan. Yan po. Gutom na yan. Nagutom na sila lahat po.
Ganyan lagi, Nay? Ganyan lagi sila?
Ano sila malagi? Sige, mga kaya. Yung pakainin nila na yun. Wala mo silang pagkain. At yun ako nila, Apo ka, alika rito. Kumain dito, Iyak niya ako ko. Wala na siyang matira ng pagkain. Alika rito, pakain dito, Ate niya, tayo nagutom, meron pa konti rito. Ayan, nagutom siya. Nagutom, bili ng bigas. Nalakasya na po sa kanya ng pinuntan. Pag naroon pa anong po meron, siya gutom na gutom. Wala ko. Nag-aagawan sila sa konting kanin. Diyos ko.
Wala na ba na? Ubus na?
Ayan o, ayan o. O, nagwito. Bili ng bigas. Nalakasya na po sa kanya ng pumulpan. Pagkain mo pa nung primero, sila pa nagkagawan ng mga apo ko. Gutom na gutom. Kuya. Nag-aagawan sila sa konting kanin. Diyos ko.
Wala na ba na? Ubus na?
Wala na po sila. Nag-iiyakan pa po sila. Gusto pa po nila kumain sa kanila. Wala po silang pakain.
Nakakain ka ba? Ha? Hindi ka nakakain? Wawa naman. Wala na ba kayo dyan, ay? Wala nang kanin?
Wala na po, gusto na.
Kunti lang yung nakakain niya, eh, oh. Wawa naman.
Kaya po mamaya. Buhay namin dito. Bali lang po yung rusa po pinagkakasya namin. Kasi ganyan naman, katawan nila paano kulang po sa pagkain. Gusto ko yan. Sirang kanin.
Nakuha naman natin.
Kami, magtitis na lang po kami. Kumain lang tayo. Mag-asin na lang kayo. Asin, ayan. Sige. Ay, kawawan sa mga apo ko. Nagutom.
Nagutom sila na yan, oh.
Nagutom sila,
Yung sarap-sarap na rin, anay, sa ganyang ulam.
Sanay na po sila sa asin na ulam. Ganyan po ang hirap po namin. Hindi na po sila nag-anak ng kung ano po yung meron na ulam. Siya na po ang pagkukulang ulam. Basta't may asin. Naban po sila, nasanay na po sila ganyan sa pagkain namin na ganyan. Yan po. Gutom na yan. Kawawa na mga tumatak sila mga tuloy nila. Panagutom na sila.
Ito talaga ano naman well, we have observed na napaka-rich na mga tao sa mundo. The reality naman, extreme naman napaka-hirap naman nakita ninyo, ha? This is the reality. Now, what really is the very reason? Bakit ba na mayroong extreme na mga rich na mga tao, sobrang-sobra na ang food, sobrang-sobra na ang kayamanan, mayroon pa ring extreme na mas marami na mga tao na walang shelter, walang bahay. Nakita naman natin na walang mga pagkain. Ano ba ang dahilan? What is the reason? Ito talaga ang economy. And it is not only that, good na healthy ang mga bata eh. Good na healthy sila. Kapag magkasakit, walang source of income. Good naman, nakita natin na healthy ang mga bata. Nakita ninyo na asin ang ilahang sudan. Nakita ninyo nag-iiyakan. Nakita ninyo na kahit mumho, ginaginot. The real story talaga ano ang dahilan? What is the reason? Yan, we have to discover talaga. It is because the system of is imbalanced. Hindi balanse because of the absence of love. Ang system sa economy sa daigdig pag-ibig, absence of love. Ang nangyari ang system sa batas ay to strengthen the rich, kaya ang rich become richer and the poor becomes poorer. Ito ang system sa economy sa daigdig. And so that makita po natin ang economic explanation, we will listen to an economist. Isang economist nag-present na talaga ano ba ang economic system sa daigdig, no? The operations of economy in the world, lalo na as affected by the pandemic 2019. Ano ba talaga ang operasyon sa economy? How could we explain the world economy? We have here the 2020 crisis will be bigger than the 2008 recession. Ano ba ito ang recession? Ito ang sa labor, no? At saka ito ang capital at saka sa labor may drop naman sa output sa business talaga. We have to present, no? Ano ang nangyari sa economy?
You've
And
already
this
ruined
is
it.
really
Now, go
the
and
In
situation
a recent
in the whole
interview,
world.
Ray Dalio has come out and said that he thinks the 2020 crisis will be bigger than the one that we had in 2008, and it will be similar to the Great Depression in 1930. I want to let Dalio explain it though.
Well, I think you could look at this like a tsunami that's hit the virus itself and the social distancing, and then what are the consequences in terms of the wreckage when you look at it. And I think you have to think of that as incomes, balance sheets, you know. So it was a tremendous income hit, and then the balance sheets losses, and who has what savings, and so on. And then how is that dealt with? And in order to understand that, you have to realize that there are these holes in income and the holes in the balance sheet. And then you have to realize that there is the production of money and credit. And who produces that money and credit? Okay, the money and credit comes in different flavors. There is US dollar money and credit. There is euro dollar money and credit. And so when you look at the world and you're seeing a situation that is the same as existed really in the 1930 to 45 period, in that now we're seeing the production of a lot of debt, a lot of borrowing by the government. We're seeing zero interest rates and not the traditional kind of monetary policy. but the producing of a lot of money and credit. So the Federal Reserve is buying the Treasury's debt, and the Treasury is getting that money to mostly Americans in some imperfect but remarkably large way. And the Europeans are doing the same in their way. That bank is a smaller bank because the world lives with about 70% dollars and only a small percent euro, and they will produce theirs for theirs. And there aren't many banks around the world. And so the rest of the world is going to have gaps, holes that won't be filled. So if you think about that and you say, American printing of money and the borrowing.
Okay? Nakita ninyo, both sides, yung mayroong economic holes. Parang nabuho ang ekonomiya, ang income at saka yung balance sheet may holes talaga, unrealized income because it is an output of the pandemic program outlined by the pyramid organization. The family of 13, then the family of 300, the committee of 300. Kaya nga plano na po ito nga i-destroy, i-reduce ang population sa buong mundo. Kaya nag-create ng pandemic na coronavirus. Ano ba? Then, kailangan may economic crash. Ibig sabihin, collapse sa economy. Inang collapse economic crash ang mangyari, then the people of the whole world will say, we will surrender. And whatever be na solution talaga, as if na sino ba ang mastermind po dito? Ito ang mga trillionaires naman 4 na group na po ito. Seconded by the billionaires naman Kaya, the rich becomes richer. The billionaire becomes trillionaire. The trillionaire becomes quadrillionaire. Lahat naman Limited na po itong mga tao who are not satisfied of their being rich in this world, na hindi talaga satisfied sa kanilang pagkadato, pagkamayaman. And then, at the expense of the Christ, sa mga luha, sa mga bata at sa mga pulubi sa buong daigdig, they want na pwersahin pa sa economic collapse because they have their motive. Mayroon silang layunin na may formula na ibigay, at ito ang vaccine na tinawag na ito, ang microchip, otherwise known as the 666 na microchip talaga. Then pagbigay na sa mga tao, the purpose is money. The purpose is money. Hindi satisfied talaga sa kanilang wealth. Ubusin pa ang lahat. Yan ang selfishness. Extreme talaga ang nangyari. And so, ano ba? We have here, ano ba ang mga plano ng mga tao? Let us now present how the economic machine works. No? Ang economic machine works na parang na-destroy talaga ang economic system. Yes, because that is their plan Kailangan isira talaga yung economic system sa buong daigdig, so that once it is destroyed, then they will introduce the new economic system sa kanila at ito ang digital system, cashless society. Ano ba ibig sabihin na cashless society? Walang pira na madala, kundi yung nandoon pa rin sa palad, yung sa microchip. Ito talaga ang mangyari. So, the plan of the rich, of the trillionaires, the plan of the billionaires, absorb everything naman discontented sa kanilang pagka-rich. Kaya ano ba talaga ang basics of economic
But many people
system?
don't understand it, or they don't agree on how it works, and this has led to a lot of needless economic suffering. I feel a deep sense of responsibility to share my simple but practical economic template. Though it's unconventional, it has helped me to anticipate and to sidestep the global financial crisis, and it has worked well for me for over 30 years. Let's begin. Though the economy might seem complex, it works in a simple mechanical way. It's made up of a few simple parts and a lot of simple transactions that times. These transactions are above all else driven by human nature, and they create three main forces that drive the economy. Number one, productivity growth. Number two, the short-term debt cycle. And number three, the long-term debt cycle. We'll look at these three forces and how laying them on top of each other creates a good template for tracking economic movements and figuring out what's happening now. Let's start with the simplest part of the economy, transactions. An economy is simply the sum of the transactions that make it up, and a transaction is a very simple thing. You make transactions all the time. Every time you buy something, you create a transaction. Each transaction consists of a buyer exchanging money or credit with a seller for goods, services, or financial credit.
Okay? Ito ang transaction, buy and sell. Because necessary ito it is a transaction economy. Is a transaction sa buy and sell. Bumili ka, ikaw magbinta naman, magtinda ka, ito talaga ang transaction. Now, this transaction is ito talaga ay gisikop. Ha? Ito ang gikuha. Then, that is nandoon pa rin sa Panginoon. Revelation 13, verse 17, na kapag ang tao ay walang patik dito sa kanyang buna, no? And his forehead or at the right hand, hindi siya makapag-transact to buy or to sell. Yan ang nangyari ngayon. Kaya the very reason, the root cause of this pandemic coronavirus is because of the extreme love of money. Kaya iplan po ito sa mga trillionaires, billionaires, na para manatili sila ma-enrich pa, kailangang i-reduce ang population. Kaya nakita nila sa mga third world countries, mga nonsense naman ipapatayin na lang yung lahat Sila lang manatili to live on earth with the royal blood. Ito ang layunin. Ito ang purpose. Kaya the poor people is not considered as persons or human beings. Kaya kailangang mawala sa mundo ito. Yan ang sakit Absence of love. Kaya because sa extreme love of money, bahala nagpatay ang mga tao. Reduce the population. So ito ang nangyari. Here comes the economic transaction.
Spent and the amount of credit spent, you can know the total spending. The total amount of spending drives the economy. If you divide the amount spent By the quantity sold, you get the price. And that's it. That's a transaction. It's the building block of the economic machine. All cycles and all forces in an economy are driven by transactions.
Okay? So, nakita na natin ha. Ito ang pinaka-reason sa 666. Ito ay isang transaction na parang hindi makatransact ang tao. Kailangan mapugos siya. He will be forced na magpa-inject ng 666. Kaya ito na hindi siya makatransact sa buy or to sell naman eh. And so, we will now discuss ano ba talaga. We have to check on the three major economic problems sa Pilipinas. Ano ba ang three major economic problems sa Philippines? Kaya, kailangan ba ang Philippine economic transformation na total change sa economic system sa Pilipinas, which would affect the whole world? Yes, kinakailangan talaga. Now, ano ba ang three major problems sa Philippines? Ito, first is poverty problem. Ano ba ang poverty? According to the Grolier New Webster's Dictionary 1999, page 308, it is a condition or quality of being poor. Kaya poverty, being poor, unproductive. So, unproductive, walang produce of products, less supply, kulang sa mga pangangailangan, deficiency or inadequate supply of something. Kaya nakita natin ang pulubi, yung mga bata. Inadequate food. Kaya dahil sa kakulangan sa food, nag-iiyakan ang mga bata. Kahit asin lang, salt lang ang kanilang sudan, ha? Pare sa rice, nag-iiyakan sila. Inadequacy. Sa kanilang damit, kulang talaga. Shelter, awang-awa talaga. In other words, insufficient na ikasupply sa kanilang daily na pangangailangan. Ito ang poverty. On the other hand, nakita po natin na marami namang pinaka-rich naman eh. Mas marami pa ang mga pulubi. What's the reason? Ano ba talaga? Bakit poverty? Bakit ang poverty is less na supply? Kulang, insufficient ng supply, insufficient na mga products? It's because of the next problem, economic problem, unemployment problem. Dahil unemployment, ang mga tao, consuming lang, walang output, walang products, because walang employment. Example, ako, wala akong trabaho. May skill talaga, alam ko paggawa ng mga shoes o mga slippers. Okay? Dahil wala akong trabaho, wala akong income. Ang gawin ko lang, consuming lang. Consuming, kaya maghingi ng pagkain eh. Maghingi, pero wala akong income. May anak, walang income. Magsakit, lalo na. Ito ang totoong senaryo sa buong Pilipinas at sa daigdig. Question, what law na nagbigay para sa mga pulubi? On the other hand, what law nagbigay sa government for the rich. Mayroon talaga. We have to discuss the legal system. The law shall answer kung bakit talaga. Salamat na lang sa 4Ps na nahimong bigar in town ang mga families na no income, nahugog pensioner, nahugog bigar, but that is not a solution. That is not a solution. It is only samantala. Transition lamang po ito. And so, bakit unemployment problem? Because of the unemployment problem, the poverty ang mga tao, poverty, lack, insufficient, hindi sapat ang mga pangangailangan because walang mga products na nagawa, because walang employment ang tao. Ang result po dito is third economic problem, inflation. Ano ba ang inflation? Ang inflation ay mamahal ang mga pamaliton. In other words, the product is so expensive. Mahal na mahal talaga. Then the value of the money becomes cheaper. So ito ang inflation. Kaya tatlong economic problems that are attacking this country, the Philippines. Kaya pulumpi ang Filipinos. On the other hand, nakita po natin na mga dato, mga mayaman, may mga mayaman, sobra kayaman talaga, while maraming naghihirap sa buong daigdig at saka sa third world countries to include the Philippines. Now, on this aspect, we have to prove ano ba ang top 10 poorest countries in the Philippines. Dahil ang 2020 nandoon pa tayo, August for tomorrow, 2019 pa muna ang i-present po natin ano ang top 10 na poorest countries in the Philippines by 2019.
The top 10 poorest provinces in the Philippines. The Philippines are considered the most disaster-prone country on Earth, including typhoons, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, floods, garbage landslides, and military action against the Muslims. There are many factors that cause poverty like employment issues and high population growth, but the main factor affecting country's economy and the livelihood of Filipinos is the governance issues such as corruption, which is rampant in the Philippines, and security issues which are prevalent in Mindanao and other poor areas. Entrepreneurs will not be interested in investing money in a place where there is violence, which results to low employment opportunity and a bad economy. According to NAPC, poverty incidence in 201 increased to 25%, meaning 1 in 4 Filipinos lives in poverty. The higher count of poor people is because food prices and the result of Super Typhoon Yolanda. So here's the list of 10 provinces in the Philippines that have the highest poverty incidence this year 2019. Number 10. Zamboanga del Norte. Zamboanga del Norte is located in the Zamboanga Peninsula region. In 2006, incidence rate of 64%, it is now at the 10th spot with 48% poverty incidence. While considered poorest in 2006 and 2009, Zamboanga del Norte managed to improve their economy. It dropped to 5th place in 2012 and then to 10th spot in 2019. Number 9. Western Samar. 3 in every 10 families in eastern Visayas are poor. Western Samar is another new entry in the list of the poorest provinces in the country, with 43% incidence of poverty. This province has been prone to natural calamities and pests, doubly burdened by the anti-people policies passed by the Duterte's administration and the intensified militarization. In fact, claims of the Duterte and the Aquino administrations that the region has already recovered from the ravages of Typhoon Yolanda are believed by the stories of farmers and residents. It was one of the most affected areas by the Super Typhoon Yolanda on 8 November 2013, which damaged the livelihood of the locals. Number 8. Northern Samar. Northern Samar is one of the three provinces comprising the island of Samar. Its tourism industry has great potential, but remains unknown to most tourists. Based on NAPC's report, it has a poverty incidence of 43.5%, which might be lessened once the tourist attractions of this province become fully utilized, same with Western Samar. In Northern Samar alone, 24 of its municipalities are situated along the coasts, and residents are all fisher folk. Despite all these resources, the farmers of the eastern Visayas region also have to face the infestation of their crops. Abaca crops are heavily infested with bunchy top virus, BBTV. This has led to the stunted growth of abaca, thus the dwindling amount of abaca produced. It is the main source of livelihood of farmers in northern Samar. Number 7. Negros Oriental. Based on the results of the latest Family Income and Expenditure Survey of the Philippine Statistics Authority, PSA, Negros Oriental or Eastern Negros is a province of the Philippines located in the southeastern half of the Negros Island region. Despite the fact that it has been an electricity supplier to its neighboring provinces and having a good agricultural land, it still has a poverty incidence rate of 43.9%. Number 6. North Cotabato. North Cotabato is also a part of Sixargan region and is located in the middle of Mindanao. With a 44.8% rate of poverty incidence, this province is a new member of the poorest provinces in the Philippines. Roman Catholicism is the major religion in this province with Cotabato is considered as Mindanao's food basket. It is a major producer of cereals, tropical fruits, vegetables, sugarcane, coconut, coffee, freshwater fish and livestock. It is also one of the country's leading producers of raw and semi-processed rubber, with markets in Asia and Europe, and industrial trees. Over the last 9 years, Cotabato has graduated from being a basket case to one of the Philippines' most vibrant economies. Still one of the provinces in the poverty line, but Cotabato is slowly making a mark as a province that can offer a positive investment climate and a sound business opportunity to those who choose to put their money here. Before we will give you the next list, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification button. Sarangani is listed among the country's 10 poorest provinces. Sarangani was recently named the country's 6th most competitive province in the recent Cities and Municipalities Competitiveness Index, CMCI, an annual ranking of local governments whose framework focuses on the idea of productivity. Catholicism is the predominant religion in this province, 63% of the population being Roman Catholics. Just like North Cotabato. As a poverty reduction program, it will develop, adopt, and execute strategies to uplift the quality of life in the following areas like social stability, education, health and nutrition, environmental management, disaster resiliency and economic empowerment. Number 4. Maguindanao. Maguindanao is under the Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, ARMM. It is 4th among the poorest provinces in that country, with 54% poverty incidence. This province became one of the most talked about provinces because of the Maguindanao massacre. 2 of them are journalists. The Maguindanao massacre, also known as the Ampatuan massacre, after the town where the mass graves were found in the town of Ampatuan in Maguindanao province. According to CPJR Committee to Protect Journalists, has called the Maguindanao massacre as the one of the deadliest events for journalists in history. At least 34 journalists are known to have died in the massacre. Number 3. Apayao. Apayao is part of the Cordillera Administrative Region in Luzon. Apayao is the lone recipient of SAAD or Special Area for Agricultural Development in the Cordillera region. SAAD is a 6-year locally funded project under the Department of Agriculture that focuses development interventions on the most marginalized agricultural and fishery sectors in the country. It also aims to increase food production and reduce poverty in the country. Implementation of the program started in 2017, with Apayao as the first Cordillera province covered. Number 2. Eastern Samar. Eastern Samar is a province of the Philippines, located in the eastern Visayas region. It is now the 2nd poorest province in the Philippines, with 55.4% poverty incidence. Its main economic resource The main reason for the increase in poverty level was the destruction caused by Yolanda, and higher inflation rate is also another factor just like other Samar region. Number 1. Lanao del Sur. Violence worsened the poverty in Lanao del Sur. Decades of armed conflict have hampered development in Mindanao, where most of the Philippines' poorest regions are located. The uncertainty caused by the siege in Marawi City would aggravate the poverty situation in Lanao del Sur, which remains as the poorest province in the Philippines. Clashes between government forces and members of the Mao T group forced thousands of families to flee Marawi City in Lanao del Sur. Poverty in Marawi City will most probably worsen, but poverty in the other poorest provinces in Mindanao will not be drastically affected. Investors and businessmen have moved away from the blanket notion the entire Mindanao is worrisome. It will remain to be the provinces with the most number of poor families. That's all for today, guys. Thanks for watching.
Okay, nakita na natin ha. The top 10 na poorest countries in the Philippines as of 2019 kaya nga ang Lanao del Sur ang top notcher and then ano talaga yung napaka pulubi no na mga countries no in the Philippines. And so ano naman ang the very what's the action of the government? Ano talaga ang mga
But many people don't
okay?
understand it. Or the,
Ano talaga ang aksyon naman we have to dig up the very root cause which calls for itong tinawag naman na nagkakailangan talaga ng isang Philippine economic transformation. Ikinakailangan ang economic transformation total change sa economic system. Ano talaga ang mga batas? Bakit naman not touch ang mga pulubi down sa mga napakamahirap na mga tao? What could be the possible reason? Kaya we have discovered na ito talaga is nandoon pa rin sa legal system. The economic system. Ito ang tinawag sa Second Plenary Council of the Philippines na structural defect. The system of economy, structural, refers to the system. Kaya ang system sa economy is favorable. The rich becomes richer and the poor becomes poorer. Kaya nga, ang pandemic coronavirus is the universal conclusion of making the poor poorest and the rich the richest in the whole world. Ito talaga ang nangyari. Kaya gusto naman, plano po ito na i-liquidate, reduce the population. What is another terminology of reducing the population? Ano ba ang another terminology sa pag-reduce sa population? Ang another terminology sa pag-reduce sa population is kill the lalo na sa mga pulubi. And they have rationalized, na i-reduce ang population, ang tao, dahil on the very elementary sabi po nila na i-reduce talaga dahil wala ng mga pagkain ang tao. Ito talaga Dahil wala ng pagkain ang tao, kinakailangan talaga na i-reduce which is a selfish terminology o ang selfish talaga na yung mga principle of life Ano ba? I-present po natin ang people living doon below the bridge ito ang mga tao na living o sa ubos below the bridge. Under the bridge. Parang walang shelter naman Ang naging tahanan po nila ang bridge na lang. Mabuti may CR sila. Okay? So, nakita na natin ito talaga ano ba? Ano ba talaga? Ano ba talaga? The reason behind. Ang concentration been enacted for the benefit of the poor. Kaya the economic system, ang batas talaga na pinag-establish na doon sa bawat bansa, lalo na sa Pilipinas, ay for the rich. Kaya nga, before we explore the legal system, ano ang mga batas, alang-alang talaga sa mga rich, sa mga business sector, para hindi talaga na-focus ang mga pulubi. Although, mayroong mga minor laws naman na para sa mga pulubi, but the major laws ay intended for the business sector, for the rich naman kaya nga, let us now digest sa mga terminologies ito ang poverty sa Philippines, the family that lives under naman sa bridge. On the other hand naman mayroong top 10 billionaires sa buong daigdig 2020. Itong top 10 billionaires parang happy talaga Top 10 billionaires talaga ano naman ang kalang buhay? Sobrang yaman. Sobrang yaman. On the other hand, napakasobra naman ang mga nasakta na puso sa mga pulubi. Parang ang daigdig po nila wala ng mga pag-asa. On the other hand, ito ang mga top 10 billionaires of
Get
the
a
world.
real-time
Ano ba
bird's-eye
talaga
view
ang
of your
mga
project.
puso nila?
Create project
Ano
plans.
ang mga business po sa super yaman na mga tao sa buong daigdig? Ito ang top 10 na mga billionaires. $67 billion worth. Ninth placer, Larry Page. Net worth, 68.7 billion. Wealth from Google business. Eighth placer, Warren Buffett. Net worth 69 billion. Business Berkshire Hathaway. Mga businessmen po. Seventh pleaser. Okay, Ambani. $70 billion. Business Reliance Industries. Sixth placer, Larry Ellison. $73.7 billion. Business Oracle Corporation. Fifth placer, Steve Ballmer. $74 billion. Business Microsoft. Fourth placer, Mark Zuckerberg. $90 billion. Business Facebook. FB. Third placer, Bernard Arnold and family. $110 billion. Business LVMH. Second placer, Bill Gates. Net worth $111 billion. Business Microsoft. And the first placer, Jeff Bezos. $189 billion. Business Amazon. Okay? So, nakita na natin, no? Ito talaga yung business na the 10 richest countries, ng mga, billionaires in the different country, no? In the year 2020. Now, we will now dig up in the Philippines. Okay? Ano ba ang root cause? Is it mga tapulan? Ang mga pulupi? No. It is not. It is not the root cause. Dahil ang matao gustong mabuhay. It's a nature of a person to work, parang mabuhay. Opportunity na lang lacking talaga. Now, ano ba? Is it because walang mga batas? Is it the reason? There are more than 10,000 total number of laws in the Philippines. More than 10,000 na ka mga batas sa Philippines. That means that over 10,000 Republic Acts. If we have to add the Constitution of the Philippines, batas pambansa, presidential decrees, executive orders, presidential proclamations, more than 10,000 na ka mga batas. If there are more than 10,000 laws naman sa Philippines, bakit maraming pulubi? Now, let us digest what are those laws. Yan talaga. Are these laws proper para ba sa mga pulubi o para sa mga rich? Yan ang ipag-discuss po natin. Now, we have to discover the legal system in the Philippines. We have the classification of laws, generally divided between the substantive law and the procedural law. Now, the substantive law, mayroon tang political law and international law. Sa political administrative law for the government administration, mayroon tang election law during the election, mayroon tang public corporations, kaya mayroon talagang local government code for the local government units. That's political law plus international law. Sino ba ang nandoon sa government? Parang middle class society So, middle class society, income of minimum of 15,000 pesos. Kaya hindi kasali na ang mga pulubi, less than 15,000 monthly income bawat family. So, that political law and international law, hindi para sa mga pulubi. Directly affected. Pangalawa, itong criminal law. Mayroon ta criminal law. Kaya nga, is it really for the poor, for their economic life? Hindi naman Pangatlo, civil law. Ang civil law, although what we are looking for ay batas directly affected ang mga pulubi. All other laws indirectly affected ang mga pulubi. Civil law. Okay, sa civil law, relations, family relations, private properties, lahat hindi naman directly affected ang mga pulubi. Lahat naman ito all peoples are affected. Criminal law, lahat naman ay affected, but not especially ang mga pulubi. Ano ba? Mayroon tang taxation law. Taxation law, ito talaga for the tax naman kapag walang income ang tao, walang income tax. Kaya nga, hindi pa rin directly affected ang mga pulubi. Although, indirectly affected dahil kapag magbili ang mga pulubi, mayroon na tayong value-added tax. Ano ang bilihin mo? May tax na. Kaya, blind ang mga pulubi, kaya the poor becomes poorer. Now, dito na tayo sa economic system. Mayroon ba tayong mga batas for the economic system? Yes! Perfectly. We have volumes of laws affecting the economy naman sa Pilipinas. Ano ba itong mga batas affecting the economy of the Philippines? Yan, ito. Commercial law. Classification of mercantile or commercial laws. But these laws are laws for business talaga. Sino ba ang affected sa commercial laws, yung mercantile laws, ay ito ang mga business people. Ito ang mga businessmen. Ito ang business sector, employers, yung mga billionaires, millionaires, itong mga rich talaga na nagkaroon ng mga business. Ano ba itong mga batas? Affecting the rich people transacting business. Itong batas, law on negotiable instruments, yung mga cheque, at saka bonds, etc. Yung mga negotiable instruments. Yan, used for the rich sa kanilang mga business transactions. Hindi sa mga pulubi. Pangalawa, corporation law. Corporation law, mga big business po ito hindi sa mga pulubi. Law on insurance. Sino bang maka-afford magpa-insure? Yung mga mayaman na middle class society, kahit mahirap pa. Kaya nga talaga hindi naman para sa mga pulubi. Law on, ano pa talaga? Yung insurance, of course, discuss na. Transportation law. Sa transportation law, ito talaga ang business sa transport industry. Kaya sa mga business sector ito sa transportation. Ang mga pulubi indirectly affected naman kapag taas ang mga plitihan. Ito talaga ang mga pulubi. But still on business talaga. Kaya nga, itong credit transactions, law on credit transactions, for the business transactions po ito. Yung mga businessmen, hindi sa mga pulubi. Ito ang batas ng intellectual property. Yung intellectual property, good naman. May mga authors na mga pulubi. Good ito. But usually, it will be applied sa mga businessmen talaga. Another naman, banking laws. Ano ba ang mga banking laws? Batas para sa different banking system. Hindi ito batas para sa mga pulubi, but for the businessmen na mga rich talaga. Ano ba ang mga banking laws? Batas for the banking system. RA 7653, New Central Bank Act. RA 8791, the General Banking Act of 2000. RA 7353, Rural Banks Act. RA 4093, Private Development Banks Act. RA 3779, Savings and Loans Association Act. RA 8367, Revised Non-Stock Savings and Loan Association Act. PD 1034, Offshore Banking Decree. RA 3591, as amended by RA 7400, Philippine Deposit Insurance Corporation. RA 6938, Cooperative Banks Act. RA 1405, Bank Deposit Secrecy Act. RA 3936, Unclaimed Balance Act. RA 7906, Thrift Banks Act. RA Executive Order 80, Philippine National Bank. Executive Order 81, Development Bank of the Philippines. RA 3844, Land Bank of the Philippines. RA 6848, Al Amana Islamic Investment Bank. RA 3844, Land Bank of the Philippines. RA 3518, as amended by RA 7169, Philippine Veterans Bank. RA 7354, Philippine Postal Savings Bank. RA 6526, Foreign Currency Deposit Act. RA 8183, Repeal of Uniform Currency Act. RA 2655, the Usury Law. RA 3765, Truth in Lending Act. RA 1956, the Insolvency Act. RA 8799, the Securities Regulation Act. RA 3135, Real Estate Mortgage Act. RA 1508, Chattel Mortgage Act. RA 5980, Financing Company Act. RA Presidential Decree 1688, Venture Capital Corporation. Presidential Decree 114, Pawn Shop Regulation Act. RA 2629, Investment Company Act. PD 129, Investment Houses Decree. Executive Order 226, Omnibus Investment Code of 1987. RA 7042, Foreign Investment Act of 1991. Presidential Decree 66, as amended by Executive Order 226, Export Processing Zone Authority. RA 3860, Foreign Borrowing Act. Presidential Decree 941, Philippine Export Council. Presidential Decree 1785, Export Credit Corporation. RA 9474, Lending Company Regulation Act. Investors ito pang Investors Lease Act. Mayroon pang PD 550, Philippine Export and Foreign Loan Guarantee Corporation, Presidential Decree 1267, National Home Mortgage and Financing Corporation, Republic Act 6977, Small Business Finance and Guarantee Corporation, RA 7393, KIDAN and Rural Credit Guarantee Corporation. Ito at iba pa, yan ang mga batas affecting banking laws. Itong mga banking laws, para ba sa mga pulubi o para sa mga businessmen transacting business on banking? Ito, para sa mga business sector eh. Kaya hindi para directly for sa mga pulubi. We have the Code of Commerce. Para ba ito ang Code of Commerce sa mga pulubi? Hindi, but for the businessmen. Marami pa eh. Warehouse Receipts Law, para ba sa mga pulubi? Hindi, for the businessmen. Banded Warehouse Law, ito ba? For the businessmen. Trust Receipts Law, for the business sector eh. Documents of titles for the business sector eh. Chattel Mortgage Law, Book Sales Law, Insolvency Law, all for the business sector. Common Carriers, business sector. Carriage of Goods by Sea Act for the business sector. Warsaw Convention, Salvage Law for the business sector. Ship Mortgage Decree of 1978 for the business sector. Public Telecommunications Act for the business sector. Intellectual Property Transfer Act for the business sector. Philippine Technology Transfer Act for the business sector. For the business sector, Electronic Commerce Act for the business sector. Ito at iba pa ay para sa business sector. Kaya mayaman talaga. Para ba sa mga pulubi? Hindi eh. In other words, there are volumes and bundles of laws that will facilitate na para ang mga batas para sa mga mayaman and business sector talaga. Kaya there is no reason na bakit ang mga mayaman ay maging mas mayaman pa. Bakit? Because they have bundle of laws. Papaano sila na maging mas mayaman? Because backed up by several laws talaga that is on mercantile commercial laws. On the other hand, sa labor sector, mayroong labor law. Labor law between po ito sa employer, sa business sector, at saka sa employee. What para sa mga pulubi naman na walang income, walang trabaho, mayroon bang batas para sa kanila? Except lang ito sa tinawag ng 4Ps na bigyan ng monthly naman na survival na money nga ibigay. So what law na kinakailangan na ma-rescue, malutas talaga to save the poor naman? What law na marami namang walang bahay, beggars, walang mga pagkain. Ano ang ginawa nila to solve sa itong mga problema na walang shelter, na itong mga walang mga pagkain? Their solution is reduce the population. That is their solution. Reduce the population. What is the other terminology? Kaya ito nabuo ang pandemic coronavirus. Ang effect sa coronavirus, kamatayan ng mga tao. Ito ang nangyari. Kamatayan ng mga tao. Now, we have to observe talaga. Ano ba ang nangyari? This is the solution disconnecting from the global thinking in the system of economy. Yan naman ang mental operation ng tao in the system of economy. Kaya nga, if we have to go to the city, habang nakita natin pulubi sa mga pulubi, inakita pa rin natin ang mga improvements, mga buildings, mga structures. Ano naman, on the other hand, may mga prostitutes, may mga slums, drug dealers, iba pa. Panoorin po natin, kaya hindi ma-resolve ang mga problems, multi-problems sa Philippines dahil kailangan ang total economic transformation. So, ito nga talaga ang nangyari dito
Philippines,
sa
Manila.
Pilipinas.
I went here to celebrate New Year and looking for real estate property. I stopped on a fancy location, Makati, but even here some people sleeping on the street. I'm gonna show you the dark side of Manila.
Alcohol for gambling, that's a problem. For drugs,
Okay. And then go back to the bottom here.
back to normal as you go to the street. And the government, they are protector in drugs, especially the policemen, the generals, you know, we are the protector of drugs. In the Philippines now, there's no laboratory in the Philippines. The drugs came from China. You ready?
Ano ba? Ano ba sa mga drugs? May news ba? Saan ang galing ang mga drugs? Ang news lang may kamatayan. Yung mga drug ano ba yun? Nag-sell ng drugs? Ito lang mga maliit na mga tao ng kapatayan. May syndicate ba sa PNP? No trust naman We need the honesty. Naging business wherever. Parang circulating ang business talaga. The point is there an instant na na-lockdown o na-check up ang source bakit dumating yung mga drugs sa Philippines? Saan po pinag-import? Is it not from China? Ito talaga narinig po natin from China. From what other place naman? That is the solution. Where is the source of drugs? Ito ang solusyon. Go to the root problem. And that will affect the economic situation of the Philippines. Kaya nga, economic transformation in the Philippines ang kinakailangan. O ito naman multi naman ang mga
Subscribe to my channel,
system.
press the bell next to the button, as also follow me on Instagram, photos, videos, as well Insta story. You will know where I am and what I'm doing every day. In Manila is two different worlds. First, rich, situated in skyline, fancy restaurants, shopping malls, or fantastic condos. The second is fighting to survive till next day, and more people living here in the second world. But about that in the minute.
Okay? Habang nakita po natin na ito ang nakita po natin na the scenario, pero what really, no? Ano pa talaga ang real situation? The commercial laws are not for the poor people in general, but those are for the business sector. Kaya nga, the commercialists and the laws are in favor of the employers. Thus, the rich becomes richer. the issue now, nandoon ng problema sa contractualization. Affecting naman sa labor. Ano ba? It is implemented in the private sector Kaya wala nang tag 6 months kinakailangan ma-end na ito. But the question is it implemented in the government? No. Kaya walang fair. And so, kailangan ang total na change naman sa economic system sa buong Pilipinas. Employment, the employer, the employee, the talents overall revamp naman sa economic system. Kaya ito ang Philippine economic transformation. Now, panoorin po natin, mayroon pang mga Pilipinos. Ang shelter po nila, ang bahay po nila, nandoon na sa cemetery Sa cemetery ng mga bata. Wala ng mga tahanan kaya mga evacuees po ito from the provinces Awang-awa naman. Ang graveyards naman, dito naman sila nagtira. Panurin po natin saan po sila nakatira. Ito naman talaga ang nangyari sa mga tao na wala ng tirahan. Wala na sila.
地中に埋葬するのではなく、地上にコンクリート製の箱を重ねていく仕組みだ。墓は5年のリース契約となっており、5年経つと遺骨は取り出され、焼却され、新しい利用者がその空きスペースを使うことになっている。この墓地に妻子と共に住むマルゴレットは、ここで毎日人骨を掘り出す。
They are living in the cemetery.
How long have you been working as a grave digger?
Mga 20 years na dito.
Oh, 20 years.
Nandidiri ako. Pag nandidiri ako ng first time ko.
How much do you actually get paid?
Saan? 400, apat na butas. 20 pa.
You said my 12 is 984. It's the same age as me. It's been exactly 5 years, yeah. So no bones can stay more than 5 years.
Kasi marami namamatay. Kaya pinagpapalit. Pinapatan ng iba.
Oh my god. Graves? Do you clean graves every day? I don't know. Oh, that's a brush. Sabon, soap. Sabon, soap. Okay. This is your brother's grave. Okay. How old was he?
Hindi,
19 years old.
marunod po siya.
Ito talaga ang
Sorry.
Wala!
丸一日ナボタス墓地で過ごしてみて、私はまだこの場所をどういう言葉で表現していいかわからなかっ
so
た。ただ一つ言えるのは、
tamang-tama na. Grabe ang buhay. Grabe. So maximum naman. Living at the cemetery area ng mga tao. Yan naman ang buhay Kaya imbalance ang economy. Bakit ito ang nangyari? What's the very reason? Bakit ba ito ang nangyari? Ano ba talaga ang katwiran? Ano ba talaga ang pinaka-reason na ito ang nangyari? It is because dahil naman na nawala na sa isip, they are out of the mind kung ano talaga ang function of the government. Kaya nga, ang concept naman ang batas is focused for the rich. Bakit? Because those who run in the government are sponsored by the businessmen. Dahil ang mga businessmen ay nag-finance, kung sino po ang manalo running in the government, kaya nga ang mental na mindset those in the government would be to reciprocate. They have to be grateful, pahalipayan katong nakapadaog nila the business sector. Kaya nga ito ang mangyari, serve the business, hindi winning yung mga pulubi. Kaya nga ang mga politicians talaga no indebtedness to the poor. Kaya walang solusyon sa problema sa mga poor. And here is now the millennial economy. The millennial economy, ito ang solusyon in the new world period. We back to the basics. Kaya God will now rule. Introduce the economy of salvation, economy of God. In this system economy, there is no God. Selfishness talaga. Kaya ano ba ang economy? Back to the basic. According to the Grolier New Webster's Dictionary, 1992, page 113, economy means avoidance of waste. Avoidance of waste. Parang walang waste. It is man's material needs. Man's material needs. Now, ano ba ang magiging system sa economy in the new world? Dahil ito ay avoidance of waste, ang definition, the first definition of economy, then change naman natin ang legal system. It will fit the need of all, lalo na sa mga mahirap. Billions of people in the world nandoon sa mahirap. Only few are rich, and yet they want pa rin ang trillionaires to rich and rich and rich naman Kaya naging pandemic tayo because of their ambition na becoming richer pa. Kaya nga unsatisfied naman Reduce the population, mawala sa mapa ang mga pulubi. And so God, with the acts of God, in the New World period, total off ang selfish system of economy. Total revamp, total change. Ang mangyari na ito ang economy. Mayroong spiritual legal system. Ang spiritual legal system is the economy of souls. System of laws dealing on the economy of souls or avoidance of wasting souls. Kaya spiritual systems. Moral legal system, economy of virtues. Kaya virtues na, virtue of mercy, virtue of thoughtfulness, virtue of resourcefulness, virtue of understanding, virtue of generosity. Kaya itong mga virtues makita natin sa mga menteryo, makita walang mga bahay, yung mga walay pagkain. Ito ang moral legal system, yung economy of virtues. Maawain ang tao talaga. Ito ang i-implement sa government. It is the avoidance of wasting virtues. Political legal system. Economy of government power. Kaya avoidance of wasting government power. Kaya sino ang makaupo po sa government, itong talaga ay sanctified people to serve These are the people who avoid of wasting government power. Kaya the purpose of government power is not to enrich the people in the government, but to enrich the people. Kaya nga, yung enrich the people, we have this book, Enrich the People. Enrich the barangay. Enrich the people formula. Ito, enrich the people. And so, ito talaga ang mangyari. The purpose of the government is to enrich the people and not to enrich those who are rich. The purpose of the government is to enrich lalo na sa mga pulubi and not to enrich who are the administrators in the government. That's the purpose of the government. Kaya nga, political legal system. Then, pang-apat, economic legal system. Yung economic legal system is the economy of love and integral salvation or the avoidance of wasting life. Kaya nga, in the new world to come, ang economic legal system na ilahat ng mga tao, love talaga, puso na integral salvation, body and soul. Kaya nga, i-avoid ang waste of life. Ito ang economic legal system in the new world to come. That is the economy of love and integral salvation. Panglima is the social legal system. Ang social legal system is the economy of holiness. Kaya ano ba ang economy of holiness? It is the avoidance of wasting sanctity and perfect peace. Kaya it will solve the drug addiction. It will solve syndicates. Lahat ng mga sindikato. Ito talaga ang transformation. Social legal system, economy of holiness or avoidance of wasting sanctity and perfect peace in the new world to come. Pang-anim, physical legal system is the economy of divine authority. Kaya nga, there is an avoidance of wasting authority. Ito ang physical legal system in the new world to come. And pang-pito is civil legal system. Ang civil legal system, ito talaga ang economy of family solidarity in and harmony. Kaya ito ang avoidance of wasting family solidarity. Kaya united ang family with sanctity. Now, ano ba talaga ito? Bakit ba? Because economy means, according to the book English Visayan Dictionary 1983, page 324 by Rodolfo Cabunsi SG. Economy, the meaning is management of the affairs and resources of the group. Kaya nga, dahil management of the affairs and resources, ito ang economy, kaya nga, govern pa rin sa economy sa mga legal system. So, bakit i-integrate na talaga ang batas ng Panginoon? Divine law. Integrate ang moral law. Kaya integrate ang natural law. Ito ang integrated legal system. Kaya Philippine economic transformation, answering the real needs of the people, total revamp, total integral salvation, lalo na ang mga pulubi. Kaya nga, puso, love economic system in the new world to come. Walang selfish. Ito ang mangyari. 1 Corinthians chapter 1 verse 26 to 27. Mapahiya talaga ang mga marunong, makapahiya talaga, mahihiya ang mga powerful because who will rule in the government, itong mga tao na mga nonsense nga mawalay buot, mga way kabangkaagan, but they will rule in the government. And so, kaya panoorin po natin ang dark ages, dark side of the Philippines. Ano ba ang dark side of the Philippines? Habang nakita natin ang mga mayaman, what is the dark side of the Philippines? Unsolved. Marami namang unsolved. Ito ang dark side of the Philippines. Naging bigar ang mga tao na nakakailangan ng mga pagkain. Ito,
Huwag hayaang ilagay sa panganib ang kinabukasan ng
dark
anak mo.
side.
Protektahan mo sila laban sa lamok na may...
Ito ang dark side of the Philippines. 24 hours yung mga bata naghintay, nakabigyan ng pagkain eh. Nangangailangan sila ng pagkain. 24 hours naghintay eh. Kaya salamat naman. Doon ay mga hinabang.
I
Food.
don't think I've seen this many people on the street ever.
Waiting for food donations. Awa na mga bata.
We're here in Cebu City and we're doing the Happy Birthday Jesus charity work. As you can see behind me. This is Cure Foundation. And this is a separate charity from my charity that I'm doing with the girls. So today we're going to feed over 20,000 people here in Cebu City. There's a massive line going all the way to that street and further down like 3 blocks. And people have been waiting here for, almost 24 hours. And they're staying like in the pouring rain. Right now there's a typhoon. There's a typhoon building over the Philippines. So hopefully it's going to stay calm today and not be too windy. Right now there's no wind, only pouring down. And the event starts at 1 p.m. And it's going to take about 6 to 8 hours to feed everybody here. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to bring a lot of smiles to the people of the Cebu. So without further ado, let's roll some cinematics, show you guys the people here and the surrounding insights, and just enjoy the day. Make these people happy.
There's only one way in and one out. We have people that will mark their fingers. We use this food coloring, so they dip their fingers in here. If they try to clean it, they don't have all over their hands, so they can't come back. Some of them they will try, they will skip the line and come back.
So you hear that, guys? Once they come in here, they have to keep track of everybody that's coming in so they don't get 3 weeks packing.
These are for the children. These are for the children.
Yes, yes.
Very old.
There's so many people. It's already packed in here, and they're getting crammed up, it seems. But they're getting water and stuff so they don't get dehydrated and all that. Hey, guys! So just over there, that's where the feeding center is. And the line goes from all the way in here to this corner down the road. You cannot see how far it goes. I think it's like 3-4 blocks already. So it's packed right now. You see a lot of security just to keep everything safe and sound. No matter how hard the Filipinos have it, they always smile, They wait here tens of hours just to get a bag of rice and corned beef. And you know that these people, they need this food. They need the food. Who waits this long just to get a bag of rice? Woo! People lined
And I guess we're gonna walk all the way down. Let's just see how freaking long this line is. I'm very curious about that. Picture. So now we reach at the end of this line over here, and there's another corner that goes all the way down there. So let's continue to walk it. Very overwhelming to be here because I don't think I've seen this many people on the street ever. This is by far the most amount of people that I've ever seen. Look at this one. Here we got the biggest umbrella I've ever seen. Filipino style. Alright everybody, we've just reached another corner. Oh my god, it keeps going. Look at that. Continue. Everyone's going to be killed before they go into before they get their food.
Even if we're falling down, all of me is yours, every part of me. 'Cause we're in this together now, you and me together now. What's the point? We're scared to lose each other. What's the point of living without you? Tell me now and I'll stop fighting. Tell me now and I'll stop breathing. Don't want to be here without you. Without you.
1 second, I'm getting emotional. I don't know what this country is doing to me. It's just so happy to see these people getting some food. In my country, if they would stay 20 hours outside just to get a bag of rice, that is unheard of. But these people actually need it here. See the small children and families getting them just 3 days worth of food. Brings tears to you.
I'll keep you safe, I'll give you my everything. Even if we're falling down, even if we're falling down, all of me is yours, every part of me. 'Cause we're in this together now, you and me together now. What's the point? We're scared to lose each other. What's the point of living without you? Tell me now and I'll stop fighting. Tell me now and I'll stop breathing. Don't want to be here without you. Without you. Without you. I'll be your light, I'll keep you from darkness. Stop
Ito talaga, ha? Ito talaga, ha? Ang mga bata. So kaya nga, resource, economy is management of the affairs and resources of the group. So, management talaga sa affairs and resources. O ano ba ang resources? Source of help or supply. Ito ang skill in meeting difficulties. Nakita natin na nga, 24 hours naghintay ang mga bata. You see the children. 24 hours naghintay kahit nag-ulan kaya nga, ito talaga ang reality. And so, God, thank you Lord, God did not allow me to become a lawyer for I might serve the rich through the enforcement of laws for the betterment of the rich lives of business sector on earth. But God put me down from the legal atmosphere of this world in order to become the lawyer of the poor mass of millions and billions of people, for them to be saved through the economy of integral salvation. Salamat, Panginoon. Thank you, Lord. Kayo talaga ang nagkontrol ng panahon. Thank you for not becoming a lawyer. So that we can focus na kinakailangan talaga. It's not lawyering for the rich, but it is lawyering for the poor people. And you, mga children, kayo talaga ang maging future leaders of the government. You will be the future leaders of the government. Kaya ang paghihirap po ninyo, isang license po ito that we will be successful in the future. So kaya ito ang Sunrise Philippines to be Sunrise Philippines, the Philippine Economic Transformation 2020.
Everything that can be shaken, so no man would glory in what I will do. For I have waited for a generation that I could raise up a purity and a holiness in, and I am raising up firebrand. There is a forerunner anointing coming upon the youth of the Philippines that will prepare the way of the Lord even into the Middle East, says the Lord. Look and see what I will do in Mindanao, for I am going to business in a way that you cannot imagine. I am coming to Mindanao, says the Lord, as the God and the Lord of hosts, and I am going to start a family. The Lord says it's a sign that I am going to truly change the nation. I am going to show myself to the guerrilla leaders, and I am going to come, says the Lord, and I am going to begin in the places in the Philippines that have been the bloodiest, the places where the guerrillas insurrection has been the strongest, and I am going to come with signs and wonders and miracles, and I am getting ready to pour out a miracle anointing upon the Philippines such as the earth has never seen. For Indonesia they had a rushing mighty wind, but in the Philippines they will have the fire from heaven that will begin to fall. This will be a purging fire, and I will say I will visit even as in the day, says God. Do not think that I am not able to come in a day and begin to unravel the iniquities of the nation, says the Lord. I am going to visit the military. I am getting ready to come among the young military, and the Lord says there's going to be a revolution of righteousness that comes within the military. I'm getting ready to dethrone everything that needs to be dethroned, for even the balls of heaven are full. Oh, I see the balls in heaven are just getting ready to be tipped over the Philippines, and I'm going to spill out my glory. And the Lord says, I will remove the shame that Satan has tried to put upon this nation. And the Lord says, look and see, for even the blood of the martyrs cries out from Saudi Arabia. The blood of the martyrs cries out from those Islamic nations of my Filipino people that have laid their lives down. Do not think I haven't seen. Do not think I am looking away. Do not think I do not see you, Philippines. For I see you. You are the apple of my eye. You are a treasure unto me. And the Lord says, this is the day and this is the hour when I begin to change everything, says the Lord. I'm going to change the judicial system. I'm going to dethrone corrupt judges. I'm getting ready to deal with the police force. I am going to begin to expose. And the Lord says, look and see what I will do. For I will open up my treasure chest from the Philippines. And I am going to begin to release finance from the Philippines that will surprise and shake even Hong Kong. For I am getting ready to move a distribution of wealth, says God. And I'm getting ready to open the oil. I'm getting ready to open that which is in the oceans. I'm getting ready to bring forth a revolution even in the economic systems and the finance system. Look to the university in Manila, says God. For I will bring a revival that the, oh my Lord, the Lord says not hundreds, thousands and thousands and thousands are in vain. The Lord says, can I touch a whole university? Yes, I can touch a whole university. I can come with my glory, and I can come with my power in ways that you cannot imagine. For I am coming, says God. I am coming, and I will remain in the Lord.
Santos, Santos, Santos. Amen.